Hey there, welcome back to Boring History for Sleep. Now, I'll be honest with you. For years I had trouble falling asleep. My brain would just spin, replaying every minor embarrassment, every tomorrow's to-do list, on a relentless loop. That was until I discovered the magic of listening to someone calmly talk about something that happened 800 years ago. There's something about the sheer distance of it that just quietens the noise. That's the only goal here, to replace that modern anxiety with the slow, gritty, and frankly miserable details of daily life in the past. No dramatic music, no shocking twists, just a long, rambling trip back in time. So if you're like me, and you need a little help switching off, you're in the right place. Tonight's story is part of our ongoing series, Why You Wouldn't Survive Medieval England. Tonight, we're diving into the truly grim stuff, the hygiene, the justice, and the constant, creeping dread. If this is your kind of remedy, don't forget to subscribe and give the video a like. It genuinely helps this little channel grow and helps others find their way to sleep. Alright, let's dim the lights, get comfortable, and leave the 21st century behind. You wake up face down in straw, not a mattress, just straw, and not the clean kind. The smells hit you first, thick, heavy, clinging to the air like a bad memory. The smell of wood smoke from the hearth and the dung from the animals you share this hut with. And something fishy. Last week's catch, still lingering in the cracks of the floor. You blink. The light is dim, seeping through gaps in the wattle and daub walls. Your home is one room. One room for cooking, sleeping, storing grain, and yes, housing your neighbor's pig. Because of course the pig lives here too. It snuffles in the corner, judging you. Outside, the village bell clangs. It's terrifyingly loud. No snooze button in 1345. No sleeping in. That bell means work or trouble, and either way, you lose. You try to stretch, crack. Was that your back or a rat nibbling your shoe? Probably both. You sit up. The straw sticks to your tunic. It's wool, scratchy, stiff, and smelling like sweat and smoke. No cotton here. No soft linen, unless you're rich. And you're peasant rich, which means you own a spoon and almost enough turnips to survive the winter. The floor is dirt. Packed dirt. Centuries of feet, spills, and who knows what else ground into it. You've heard of castles with stone floors. Fancy. Unimaginable. You've also heard those floors are cold as a witch's heart. So maybe dirt isn't so bad. A shadow passes the door. Your neighbor, already hauling water. The sun isn't even fully up. You sigh. Time to face the day. Or, more likely. Time to face the backache that is your day. But first, breakfast. Ah, yes, breakfast. A word that used to mean coffee and toast. Now, it means bread. Hard, stale, could break a tooth bread. You dunk it in ale, the only safe liquid here, and pretend it's porridge. It's not. It's sadness. Chewy, fermented sadness. You chew. The pig stares. Somewhere, a chicken screams. Just another dawn in medieval England. Breakfast is over. The bread sits in your stomach like a rock. But no time to dwell. The village is already moving, and if you're late, the bailiff will notice. And nobody wants the bailiff to notice. You step outside. The morning air is cold. Not crisp autumn morning cold. Not forgot your jacket cold. This is bone deep. Seep into your veins cold. Your breath hangs in the air like a ghost. The ground is half frozen mud, sucking at your shoes, if you can even call them that. They're more like leather sacks tied to your feet with fraying rope. Every step squelches. The village is alive, in the way a wound is alive. Smoke curls from a dozen huts. Children dart between them, chasing a half-starved dog. Someone is yelling about a missing chicken. Again. You pass the well, where two women are arguing over whose turn it is to haul water. One of them glares at you. You look away. Best not to get involved. Your first stop. The latrine, or what passes for a latrine here. A rickety wooden shack over a pit that hasn't been emptied in months. The smell hits you before you even open the door. It's eye-watering. You hesitate, but nature calls, and nature doesn't care about medieval plumbing. Inside, it's worse. The wood is slick with something. You hold your breath. Do your business. Try not to think about the thing squirming below you. There's no paper, of course. Just a frayed scrap of cloth, reused more times than you'd like to consider. Back outside, you splash icy well water on your hands. It doesn't help much. Next. Lunch. Or as close as you'll get. You grab a bowl of pottage, a thick, grey sludge of peas, barley, and whatever else was tossed into the pot this week. It's barely warm. You eat it anyway. The alternative is hunger. As you chew, you notice your neighbour's teeth, or lack thereof. Black stumps, rotting in his gums. You swallow hard. That'll be you in a few years, if you're lucky. The afternoon drags. Your back aches. Your feet are numb. and the sun isn't even close to setting. But hey, at least you're not plowing today. Small mercies. The bailiff finds you. Of course he does. You. Field. Now. No please. No thank you. Just work. You trudge to the fields, where a dozen others are already bent double, hacking at the earth with dull iron tools. No machines here. No tractors. Just back-breaking labor, sun up to sundown. You grab a hoe. The blisters on your palms scream in protest. Too bad. The Lord wants his turnips planted, and if they're not in by dusk, someone will pay. And that someone is you. The work is mindless. Chop, dig, drop a seed, cover it, repeat, over and over. Your muscles burn. Your knees grind against the dirt. But you don't stop. Can't stop. Beside you, an old man coughs. A wet, rattling sound. He's been at this since dawn. His hands are gnarled, fingers twisted like tree roots. That'll be you in 30 years. If you live that long. The sun climbs higher. The air grows thick. Sweat drips into your eyes. You wipe it away with a filthy sleeve. It doesn't help. Lunch is the same as breakfast. Bread, a bite of hard cheese if you're lucky. You eat in silence, too tired to talk. Around you, others do the same. No laughter, no chatter, just chewing, swallowing, and the occasional groan. The bailiff watches, arms crossed. He's not working. He never works. His job is to make sure you do. The afternoon is worse. The sun bakes the field. Your tunic sticks to your skin. Your head pounds. But you keep going. Because what's the alternative? Starvation. The stocks. Finally, the bell rings. The workday is over. You straighten up, slowly, and wince. Every muscle protests. Every joint creaks. But it's done. Now you get to go home. To your straw. To your pig. To another meal of pottage and ale. And tomorrow, you'll do it all again. Night falls, and with it, silence. Not the peaceful kind. The heavy kind. The kind that makes your ears ring and your skin prickle. Because in the dark, everything wants to kill you. You lie in your straw, listening. The hut creaks. The pig snores. Somewhere outside, a twig snaps. Bandits. Wolves. Or just old Tom stumbling home from the alehouse. No way to know. You don't own a lock. You don't even own a door. Just a ragged curtain that blows open if the wind sneezes. Then it starts. The coughing. From 3 huts over. Wet. Rasping. Plague cough. Your stomach clenches. Last summer, the Black Death took half the village. They burned the bodies in a pit beyond the fields. The smoke smelled like pork. You pull your thin blanket tighter. Don't get sick. Don't get sick. But how? The water's foul. The food's crawling with weevils. And doctor is just a fancy word for man who bleeds you with rusty knives. A scratching sound. Rats. Of course. They're everywhere. In the straw. In the grain. One bit widow Agnes last week, and now her leg's swollen purple. The healer packed it with dung and muttered prayers. It didn't help. The church bell tolls once. Midnight. You count the seconds between each groan of the wind. Then, screams. Distant, but sharp. A fight. A murder. Just someone's nightmare. No one investigates. No one dares. You stare at the ceiling. The thatch is rotting. A spider dangles over your face. You blow on it. It swings lazily. Even the spiders are fearless here. Dawn feels years away. But survive tonight, and tomorrow brings more of the same. And you thought your life was hard. Let's play a game. Imagine your worst day. Late for work. Coffee spilled. Boss yelling. Now, trade it for this. No coffee. Just ale. Warm, flat. Probably made in a ditch ale. No boss. Just a bailiff who'll whip you for slouching. No traffic. Just a 10-mile walk to market in shoes that are literally falling apart. You miss stupid things. Like chairs. Ever tried eating porridge standing up? While a chicken pecks at your toes. You miss toilets. Ever squatted over a pit full of other people's business while praying a rat doesn't jump up? You miss medicine. Ever had a tooth pulled with pliers by a blacksmith while 3 neighbors held you down? But here's the funny part, they'd think you're weak. Tell a medieval peasant about your stress. They'd laugh until they coughed up a lung. Complain about burnout. They'd hand you a plough and say, try burning fields all day, then talk to me. Yet somehow, they lived. Not long. Not well. but they woke up each day and did it again. All right. You've survived the wake-up call. You've choked down your breakfast of regret. Now, it's time for the morning routine. And what a glorious, utterly horrifying routine it is. You stand up, the straw falling from your tunic, and immediately you itch. Not just an itch, a crawling itch. You scratch your scalp. Bad idea. Your fingernails dig in, and you feel it. A tiny, frantic scuttling movement. Lice. Of course. You're a walking ecosystem. A mobile buffet for things with far too many legs. Bathing. What a charming, utterly ridiculous concept. That's for nobles with too much time and not enough dirt. You get to smell like work. You smell like wood smoke, sour sweat, damp wool, and a faint, unsettling hint of the pig who shares your living space. It's your own personal perfume. Eau de peasant. But you do make an effort. Sometimes, you stumble outside to the rain barrel. The water is icy, with a fine layer of pond scum on top. You cup your hands, dunk them in, and splash your face. The shock is bracing. It wakes you up better than any coffee ever could. It also makes you gasp, and you accidentally get a mouthful. It tastes like old leaves and disappointment. Now for the teeth. Oh, this is a fun part. Your toothbrush is a frayed hazel twig. You chew one end until it's fibrous. Your toothpaste is a handful of coarse salt mixed with, well, you're not entirely sure. Ash. Maybe. It's gritty and unpleasant. You scrub. The twig grinds against your gums, which immediately start to bleed. The metallic taste of blood mixes with the ash and salt. It's not refreshing. You spit, and a pinkish glob lands near the pig's feet. It snuffles at it, then looks at you with what can only be described as pity. Your clothes. Let's talk about your clothes. They're wool. Always wool. It's scratchy, it's stiff, and it's never, ever truly clean. It's been washed in a stream with lye soap that's mostly animal fat and ashes, so it smells interesting. Like a wet dog trying to cover up a crime. And it's damp. It's always a little damp. You're basically a walking, talking mildew culture. The itching continues. It's not just your head now. Your arms, your back, your other places. It's a constant, low-level symphony of irritation. You've got flea bites on your ankles and a rash from the damp wool on your wrists. You've accepted that a certain level of constant discomfort is just part of the deal. like the sky being blue or the Lord being greedy. And the toilet. We have to go back to the toilet. Because it's not a one-time event. It's a recurring nightmare. That rickety shack over a pit of horrors. Every visit is a gamble. Will you slip? Will a rat get brave? Will the whole rickety structure finally just give up and collapse in on itself, taking you and your dignity with it? You hold your breath, do what you must, and get out as fast as your wobbly legs can carry you. There's no soap. You just wipe your hands on the grass and try to forget. Cleanliness isn't next to godliness here. It's next to impossible. It's a luxury you can't afford in a world made of dirt, sweat, and straw. So you embrace the grime. You wear your filth like a second skin. And you try not to think about what's actually living in your eyebrows. Just close your eyes. Feel the warmth of the fire. And be deeply, profoundly grateful that the only thing you have to scratch is an old mosquito bite. The rules here are simple. Obey. Work. Don't complain. Don't stand out. The Lord's law is absolute, and it is creative in its punishments. You've mostly stayed out of trouble. Mostly. But today, fate has other plans. You're in the village square, trying to barter a handful of turnips for a slightly less dull knife. The Lord Steward is making an announcement. Taxes are going up. Again. A collective groan ripples through the crowd. You, lost in a daydream about a world with soft bread, let out a sigh. It was just a sigh. A tiny puff of air, but it was a sigh of discontent, and the steward heard it. The crowd murmur dies down. His eyes lock onto you. A cold dread washes over you, from your lice-infested scalp down to your muddy feet. He points a bony finger. You, the sighing one, come here. Your heart plummets. This is it. You're pushed towards the center of the square, towards the dreaded stocks. That horrible, weathered wooden structure that's seen more misery than a rainy harvest. Your head is forced down. Your wrists are clamped into the holes. The lock clicks shut. It's a sound you'll never forget. The world is now reduced to the smell of old wood and your own panic. For the next 6 hours, you are not a person. You are a spectacle. You are the village's entertainment. The first rotten egg hits the back of your head. It's cold and slimy as it oozes down your neck. You gasp, and that just encourages them. A child throws a turnip. It thumps against your shoulder. It doesn't hurt, not really, but the humiliation, that burns. Someone else, probably old man Hemming, dumps a bucket of something that smells suspiciously like pig slop near your feet. The splatter covers your already filthy legs. Flies, your new constant companions, immediately descend. You can't wipe your nose. You can't scratch the new itch the eggshell has caused. You are utterly, completely helpless. A dog wanders over and sniffs you, then decides to lick the egg off your neck. Its tongue is rough and unwelcome. You try to shoo it away, but you can't move. You're trapped. This is the good punishment. This is for minor infractions. For sighing. Let the dread settle. You think about the others. The thief who stole a loaf of bread last winter. They didn't get the stocks. They got the pillory. Same idea, but standing up, and for days. They lost an ear to frostbite. The man who poached a rabbit from the Lord's forest. His missing a hand. The blacksmith's wife who was accused of cursing the bailiff's cow. She was dragged to the pond for a trial by water. If she floated, she was a witch and hanged. If she sank, she was innocent. A real no-win situation. The law isn't about justice. It's about power. It's a blunt instrument to keep you scared, compliant, and in your place. Which is right here, covered in rotten food, while your neighbors, the very people you helped build a roof for last spring, laugh at your misery. The hours drag. The sun beats down. Your back aches. Your shoulders scream. You drift in and out of a miserable haze. The crowd eventually gets bored and wanders off. You're left alone with the flies and the shame. Finally, as the sun begins to set, the bailiff comes back. He unlocks the stocks. Your muscles are so stiff you collapse into the mud. He kicks you. Don't do it again. You won't. You'll never sigh again. You'll never complain. You'll work until you break, and you'll do it with a smile. Because the alternative is a world of pain, perched right there in the village square, waiting for you to slip up. So you lie there in the dirt, and you make a promise to yourself. To be smaller, quieter, invisible. It's the only way to survive. Your little stint in the stocks was a humiliation, a nightmare. But it was a problem of the village, a local misery. There is a new shadow now, one that doesn't care about village borders or the Lord's laws. It's a coldness that has nothing to do with winter. A whisper that rides on the wind from the next town over. The plague. It starts not with a bang, but with a sniffle. Old Mary's boy coughed at the well yesterday. Today, his skin is hot to the touch. His neck is swollen with lumps the size of eggs. Buboes. The word itself sounds like a death knell. His family has locked themselves in their hut. Not that it will help. Everyone knows. Once it's here, it's here. The rules change. The fear is a tangible thing, thick in the air, mixing with the wood smoke. You avoid looking people in the eye. You don't share your ale. A sneeze from the next field over sends you scrambling in the opposite direction. The priest walks through the village, his robes smelling of incense and fear, offering last rites through closed doors. The Lord and his family have fled to their other estate, far from here. Of course. The rats, however, have stayed. You see them now, with new eyes. Not just pests, but carriers. Death's little foot soldiers, scurrying in the thatch, running along the fences, utterly oblivious to the doom they bring. You go to bed that night and every little ache feels like a symptom. That twinge in your back from farming? Is it the plague? The headache from the sun? Surely it's the plague. You lie in the straw, listening. Not for the bandits or the wolves tonight. You listen for the sound you dread most. The sound of a cart. The dead cart. They don't ring bells for the dead anymore. They just come and take them. Sometimes they take them before they've even stopped breathing. It's more efficient that way. You wonder who would miss you. Who would notice if the cart came for you? The pig would. Probably. It would miss its roommate. Its next meal. You fall into a fitful sleep, haunted by dreams of blackened skin and the relentless, squeaking wheels of a cart that never seems to empty. You've faced the bailiff's justice. You've endured the stocks. But now you must face a far more complex and terrifying judge, your neighbors. The village isn't just a collection of huts. It's a living, breathing organism with its own rules, its own memory, and its own cruel whims. Stepping back into the lane after your punishment is its own fresh hell. The air changes. The conversations don't stop when you approach, they just get quieter. You get looks, not of pity, of assessment, of judgment. You are now a marked person, a troublemaker, a sire. Your social currency, which was already copper instead of gold, has been devalued to mud. Every interaction is a minefield. You need to borrow a proper axe to cut firewood. That means asking John the blacksmith. The same John whose son threw a particularly ripe turnip at your head yesterday. Do you ask? Do you offer something in trade you can't afford to lose? Or do you spend 3 hours hacking feebly at a log with a dull hatchet, reinforcing everyone's opinion that you're not just a troublemaker, but an incompetent one? Gossip is the real currency here. News doesn't travel by letter, it travels by mouth, warping and distorting with each telling. The story of your sigh is already becoming legend. By the well, you hear a woman say you cursed the Lord's name. You didn't. But the truth doesn't matter. The story is better. This constant surveillance is exhausting. Your harvest is smaller than the others. You're lazy. Your harvest is bigger. You've made a deal with the devil or stolen someone else's luck. There is no winning, only surviving the court of public opinion, where the sentence is never imprisonment, just a slow, chilling isolation that can be as deadly as any plague. You attend the village feast after the harvest. It's mandatory. You sit at the end of a long trestle table, crammed in with the other low-status villagers. The Lord provides cheap, watery ale and a few stale loaves as a reward for your months of labor. Everyone is drinking, laughing a little too loudly. A traveling musician plays a sad tune on a reed flute. For a moment, you feel a flicker of belonging, the shared struggle, the shared relief that the harvest is in and you might make it through the winter. You share a cup of ale with the man next to you. He smiles. It feels genuine. Then the bailiff walks by, claps you on the shoulder a little too hard, and says, "Behaved yourself since the stocks, eh?" The man next to you goes quiet. The moment is broken. The wall goes back up. You are, and always will be, the one who sighed. You finish your ale. It tastes like ash. In a world where everything can kill you, from a bad harvest to a bad mood from the local lord, you cling to the one thing that promises an explanation and maybe even salvation: the church. But here, faith is less about love and more about fear. It's a transaction, and you are always on the losing end. Sunday Mass is not optional. You stand. There are no benches for your kind. At the back of the cold, stone church. The priest's Latin words are meaningless, rumbling drone. You don't understand a word of it. You're not supposed to. You're just supposed to feel the weight of it. The awe. The terror. The sermons you can understand are about hellfire, about sin, about your inherent unworthiness. The stained glass windows show saints being martyred in horrifyingly creative ways. This is not a place of comfort. It's a place that reminds you, in every echoing footstep and every flicker of the expensive candles you paid for with your tithes, that you are a sinner living in a world of pain because you deserve it. You pray. Oh, how you pray. You pray for your sick pig because you can't afford a new one. You pray the rain holds off until the hay is in. You pray the pain in your tooth goes away. You offer what little you have, a handful of grain, a promise to fast, to a saint you can't name, hoping they'll put in a good word for you with God. When your prayers go unanswered, which they always do, the doubt is crushing. Is God punishing you? Is your faith not strong enough? The priest says yes. He offers a solution. Buy an indulgence. A scrap of paper that forgives your sins. It costs a week's wages. For a promise. A maybe. You pay it. What other choice do you have? So superstition flourishes in the gaps left by a distant, frightening God. You nail a horseshoe over your door to ward off witches. You avoid stepping on cracks. You look for signs in the flight of birds and the entrails of a slaughtered chicken. It feels like you have more influence over the universe by reading nonsense omens than you do through all the prayers and tithes to the impassive stone church. You are trapped between a God who demands payment and a world full of demons waiting for you to slip up. There is no peace in this faith, only a different kind of labor. The labor of constantly apologizing for your own existence and paying for the privilege of doing so. The bell tolls, and its sound doesn't call you to prayer. It sounds like a funeral dirge for your hope. The darkness outside is absolute now. The kind of dark your modern eyes could never comprehend. No light pollution. No gentle hum of electricity. Just black and quiet. So terribly quiet. This is when your mind turns on you. Every creak of the hut isn't the wind. It's a burglar, a demon, the plague doctor coming to check your neck for lumps. Your imagination, starved of entertainment and fueled by exhaustion and fear, conjures horrors far worse than any daytime reality. You think about the future. What future? Next season's planting. The endless, grinding cycle of it all. You'll work. You'll pay taxes. You'll get sick. And you'll die. Maybe in the fields. Maybe in your straw. Your children, if you're lucky enough to have any that live, will do the exact same thing. There is no moving up. There is only surviving, or not. The cold seeps in through the walls. Your blanket is thin, moth-eaten wool. You pull your knees to your chest. You are so very tired, not just from today's labor, but from all of it. The constant hunger, the constant fear, the constant, grinding, unending struggle. You feel a century old, and you're not even 25. You stare into the blackness, and for a moment, you let it all in. The hopelessness, the pointlessness. It's a heavy weight, pressing down on your chest. But then, a sound. Not a bad sound. The pig, in the corner, lets out a soft, grunting snore. It's a stupid, simple, animal sound. And for some reason, it anchors you. It's a reminder that life, stupid and stubborn and smelly as it is, persists. The sun will rise, stupidly and stubbornly, whether you want it to or not. The bell will ring. You will get up. You will eat your terrible bread. You will work. Because what else is there to do? Giving up is a luxury you can't afford. So you close your eyes. You listen to the stupid pig snore. You feel the faint, distant warmth of the embers in the hearth. And you wait for the dawn. So tonight, as you drift off in your bug-free bed, with your electric lights and your aspirin, spare thought for the stubborn, stinking, unbreakable peasants of history. And maybe, just maybe, your bad day doesn't seem so bad after all. And if you're still listening, thank you for drifting back to this difficult time with me. A like or subscribe helps this little channel grow more than you know. Drop a comment telling me where you're listening from. I love seeing our global community of history sleepers. Where will we go next time? Perhaps a night in a medieval tavern, where the ale is slightly better and the threats are just as real. But for now, let the crackle of the fire drown out the past. You are safe. You are warm. You are home. Sweet dreams.